How it's the back to the PS1 collection. It's the eyes. Sorry, no H's. Oh, I'm getting head off myself. Sun's about to go down. You see the shadows in the background. That way. Sorry, that way. So first of all, I want to apologise for the beard. I did say I was going to have a shave after last time, but that ain't happened. I'm going for peak beard. I'm halfway between Steal the Dump and Jungly Barry. So this is the most beardy I've ever been. It's looking a bit sort of weird and not. I don't know. It won't be here next time. It's gone. It's going. It's going. But anyway, yeah. PS1 collection. I did G's, didn't I? This is H's. Only 3, so this will be quick. This will be quick. I tend to say that, don't I? But then things never quite seem to work out how I want them to. But no, this will be quick. I promise. This is going to be less than 10 minutes. You have my word. So I'm starting. Sorry, itchy eye first. Sort that out. Right, first. Deep breath. Heart of Darkness. Heart of Darkness. Right. Yeah, it's puzzle game by the same people who made Another World. Yeah, and I'm guessing by definition, by that. What's the word? Can't think. If they made Another World, then they must have made Flashback as well. I think. Yeah, it's very similar to Another World actually. You play this kid. I can't remember his name. And he's sort of a bit of a tearaway, but also sort of like a genius. He reminds me of the kids out of Explorers, the film The Explorers. He goes home one day after school, and he's a bit of a tearaway. He's in trouble at school. His teacher, so he's relaxing with his dog one day after school, and then there's I don't really understand how it works, but there's an eclipse. There's a weird eclipse, and his dog disappears. Don't really know where it's gone, but I've played a good chunk of this, but not. You know, it gets tough. You have to be quite resilient with this game. The dog disappears, so he runs home, gets into his treehouse, and his treehouse is sort of passes as like a launch pad for some sort of weird spacecraft that he's manufactured. You know, he's a bit of a crazy inventor. So you can see he's got like a hat on made out of a colander, like a drainer, a kitchen one, and he's manufactured this weird sort of like ray gun as well. But no, he gets in his ship and he obviously knows where he's going. There's no actual explanation. There's no voiceovers or any more text. Gets in his ship and then flies off to go and find his dog. And then he lands, and then that's it. It's like Another World, and those sorts of games. I suppose you could compare it to Oddworld as well, where it's like a puzzle game. It's a 2D puzzle game. It looks really nice. It's quite cartoony visuals, as you can probably tell from the front. Looks really nice, but it's a bloody ball ache. It is properly just. This will send you right up the wall. Send me up the wall. You really have to persevere. But the first, I think, you have access to the gun and sort of basic commands to begin with, like there's jump, run. If you go to the options, it's like jump, run, and it's a special ability, a special attack thing, special power, and fire the gun. And you have access to those at the beginning. You basically have to use those abilities to get past each screen, because it's like a sort of along a 2D plane. And there's all these shadow beasts that attack you, and you die over and over and over again. But the turnaround's really quick. Once you die, it literally takes a few seconds, and you're back again. So it's just relentless, and it does get a bit trying. But we have to really persevere with it. A lot of it's you do get on-screen prompts. If you die quite often, eventually the game takes pity on you and it gives you hints over what to do. I think quite early on, I was sort of I was killing all these enemies. They're like shadow enemies, a bit like out of Ico, and you kill them with the gun. but then there's these ones that you can't kill for some reason, and they kept knocking you off the side of this cliff. You don't really know how to do it. But then eventually, I died so many times that the game decided to tell me that you need to jump. So you do a double jump to jump over these enemies. But yeah, it's tough. It looks good. This actual version comes with 3D, like really cheap 3D glasses, which I've never actually used. I've never tried out, but I imagine they work pretty. Don't they? Actually, no, I don't imagine they work well. I imagine they work sort of, not quite as well as you would hope they would. But Heart of Darkness is dirt cheap this game. I recommend it, but you do have to be pretty resilient because it's tough and you die over and over and over again. So, Heart of Darkness. Right, this next one is probably the most interesting of three. It's called Hell Knights. It's a first-person survival horror. The twist on this being that you don't have weapons, like properly weapons. Your only defence is to run away. I think that the story is that you're in Tokyo one day. It's sort of Tokyo in the near future, I think. You're in Tokyo one day. Then there's like this cultists they go on a rampage, and so I think you escape into the sewers with this young schoolgirl, and at the same time there's this sort of weird beast in a lab that escapes and kills all the scientists, and then sort of escapes out into Tokyo and ends up in that you escape. And originally you escape from the cultists down into this weird underground complex below Tokyo, and the beast ends up there as well. And then that's essentially the whole game, is the beast stalking you. But I quite enjoy it actually. I've played a good chunk of it, but it gets tough, and I gave up. But now the idea of the game is that you have to run away from this beast. It's basically following you throughout the game, but because it's escaped from a lab, it evolves and it gets faster and faster throughout the game, to the point where it becomes quite almost unfair. It's to the point where the game is that difficult. I've watched a few LPs. If you read a lot of the blurb, or a lot of what people comments people have written, a lot of people say I've wouldn't have been able to complete this game if it wasn't for save states. So it's that sort of difficult. It gets to the point where it's unfair. Essentially, it's a first person dungeon crawler. It's like a 3D monster maze, I think. And this thing stalks you throughout, and you can hide. It reminded a bit of I've been watching an LP of Alien Isolation, where you can hide in the cupboards. It reminded a bit of that, because quite early on there's a bit where you can hide in what looks like a storage container, and you can hear the beast outside, and you just have to wait there until it goes past. But you start off with this schoolgirl, and she's pretty useless to begin with. She has abilities. You always have, you don't always have, but you can have up to one companion with you, and that companion essentially acts as your life, because it will always be the companion who dies first, and then if you progress, if you get attacked after when you're on your own, then you die. So essentially, that companion is a shield, but there's a series of companions you can meet throughout the game. You can only have one at a time, and if you've got a companion with you, when you meet another one, then you have to, you can't have the other one join you. You have to essentially stay with the one you've got. See, the default one is the little girl, and she's pretty rubbish, but she's got like this weird sixth sense where she can sense things around the corner. But if she dies and you're on your own when you meet the next one, then that other one will join you. And I think in the FMV at the beginning of the game, you encounter like a SWAT team, like special forces, who come to take out the monster, but then the monster kills them all. And it turns out there's a survivor from that SWAT team, special forces, who's like their commander, their sergeant, and he can sort of travel with you. Essentially, the idea of the game is you need to escape from this underground complex, and there's all these different characters you meet and stuff, and there's people living down there, but. I've played a fair chunk of it. It's visually it's quite repetitive, and you do find yourself navigating lots of the same looking corridors. But I do like I like the idea of first person survival horror. Also, I like the idea that you can't. Just going over 10 minutes, bollocks. You can't really defend yourself. You just have to run away. I mean, your companions have abilities, um, but they're only sort of like rudimentary abilities. You can't actually kill the monster. I think the soldier has some sort of I don't know what does he have? I can't remember. But I think if you stay with the girl quite near to this is what I've read. If you stay with the girl quite near to the end of the game, she gets some sort of telekinetic powers, and she can sort of repulse the beast to help you get away. Quite often you do lots of doubling back on yourself, so it's that sort of game. And there are, depending on who you've got with you and sort of the choices you make throughout the game, multiple endings, so it's worth playing. So it's Hell Knights. I quite recommend that. It's a bit of an underground hit, and didn't come out in America apparently. So Japan and PAL regions only. So finally, this won't take too long because I've not played a lot of this. This is relatively relatively recent purchase. I went through a stage a while back of playing through all my games, playing a chunk of all of my games, just to give myself an idea of how they played, and so that I could sort of prioritise what I wanted to play. And so a lot of the sort of relatively recent purchases, I sort of missed out on. But um, this one's had a little bit of play, probably about an hour or so, just to give myself an idea. So I'm not really going to talk too much about it. It's Hogs of War. Um, it's essentially Worms, Worms 3D. It's that idea, except you don't have worms, you have pigs, and it's got a voiceover from the late great Rick Mail. So that's having for worth having for that reason. So there you go. I won't say too much more about that. Right, those are the H's. So yeah, look out for what's the name? Eyes. I'm going to record them in a minute before the sun goes down. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.